VeChain price prediction.
Let's get into it.
Right, Chris. So today we're going to be taking a cheeky look at VeChain. It had a very good day yesterday, rallied really high, set some fantastic all-time highs, and we're going to now take a look at a new Fibonacci retracement, new price predictions for VeChain. We'll have a look at that VET token, how high this thing could potentially go in 2021, according to the most recent data within the charts. So, guys, if you find this video useful, informative, then do go ahead and hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you want to stay up to date with all of the technical analysis, new cryptocurrencies and hidden gems that we talk about here at Cheeky Crypto, then do consider subscribing to the channel. By subscribing, you'll be kept up to date with everything we do here at Cheeky Crypto. It's free and you'll stay well informed, so why not? But of course, above and beyond that, you'll be helping us get to that massive milestone of 100,000 subscribers, which would just be absolutely immense for several reasons. One, it will help get that verification tick on the channel, which will then help identify us from those scammers down in the comments below. So yeah, another reason. Right, Chris, anything else you'd like to add before we jump on down to the charts and start taking a cheeky look at what is going on here with VeChain, price predictions and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so first, before I do that, Nick, I just want to say, it would really help us out immensely if you're not subscribed to give us a subscribe. We really do want to eradicate the scammers in the comments of our videos and just make it, less easy for those guys to impersonate us. It's really frustrating. So yeah, help us with that. But one thing that I do want to know is, how early did you get into VeChain? Was it back in October when we were first talking about VeChain? Let us know at what price point you got into VeChain. Really interested to know.
Absolutely. Right, let's jump down and take a look at some VET price predictions.
Let's do it.
Fantastic. Right, so here we have a VeChain to the USDT. This is the daily chart, and Binance is our data source as always. We have had this Fibonacci retracement tool on here since we had that run from the 28th of February through to the high point, if I can find it up here, on the 22nd of March, right? So that was a 22-day run that had 176% in gains. And obviously we had the breakout 13 days later and we rallied nice and strongly here. And we've taken out a lot of these price points since, we have to get this right, the 5th of April, right? So since the 5th of April, we took out the first price point of 13.8. We took out the second one at 20.1. And then to yesterday and today, Chris, we've been able to rally this thing all the way up to 26.46, right? So up here, that 3.618 area of the Fibonacci, we've taken out that third price target. So it's now a good time to actually go ahead and reset this Fibonacci retracement and set some new price targets, some new VeChain price predictions, and see where things could potentially start landing us, in 2021, because there's been a lot of talk and lots of high numbers, and lots of speculation as to whether or not, I don't say speculation, but maybe people not quite understanding, could VeChain even get to $1, $2, $3? And because there are a lot of coins out in circulating supply, so it has to be a lot of money that flows in. And we are seeing VeChain do some phenomenal things. It is, in my opinion, underrated still. It should be a top 10 minimum, and it isn't yet. It's ranked 13 last time I checked, Chris. So it's making good motions to the upside. It's only really a matter of time. And I think this is a project that deserves to be a top 10 cryptocurrency, unlike something like Tether, where, they can just get more fiat and, hey, they can just go ahead and, make sure they stay in the top 10, right? But something like VeChain definitely deserves to be in a top 10 just from everything it is actually doing in the real world. And there's very few blockchains out there, or projects out there, that are doing as much as VeChain. So it definitely does deserve to be up in that top 10. So watch that space. We called this out a long time ago, and it's been doing phenomenally well since. We've seen significant gains. And what I'll do, Chris, is grab this since we got in here, pull that to the top to the current position here. So for the current price, we've seen 8,683% in gains, and at that high point that was achieved, I know, it gets better. From the high point today, Chris, we've actually seen 10,400% in gains. So, significantly. So when Chris was asking you guys, what price point did you get in? how early were you getting into this project. If you were listening to us back in October, and there were people that are in it way before us, and yeah, they'll be doing phenomenally well right now, provided that they held. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete our Fibonacci retracement here, guys, and we're going to delete all of these runs that we've had, and we're going to now start some new fresh price predictions. So what I will do is I will leave on here all of these areas, just as areas that we might retrace down to at some point and see where they land. So we'll just pull that down. We'll move this across. Right, this is the run that we're looking at. So I'm going to grab that Fibonacci retracement. I'm going to start from over here, that high point that was achieved today. And we're going to take the low point down here. Okay, so we're going to be now running from the 31st of March through to today, which is the 17th of April. Okay, and we're starting to get this correction, and we were, of course, overbought. So straight away, we can see here that our yellow lines are coming in at some interesting areas just around the Fibonacci retracement zone. So we'll have to watch that a little bit closely there. And yeah, so let's take a look, right? What we're going to do is we're going to just point out a few things. We can see that the volumes have spiked up quite nicely here, and they were spiking up, and they have started to cool down today, but I still think that that's going to change during the course of today. We're still fresh into this thing. At the point of recording this video, it's about 10:30 a.m. So we've had a pretty good high point today, and a bit of a correction down to that 702, a bounce from that 702 area. You can see that here. So that's a key thing there, but we are below the 786 at the moment. We were overbought on this RSI, on the relative strength index, and that's 87. So the thing we're going to look at here is the 4 hour the same as that 1 hour? And, does it, come to consensus with the daily here? We obviously do have our 37.41. This is the area that we'll be looking to retrace to at some point in the future. Timing's the hardest thing to gauge on that one, so we'll watch that space. Right, let's go ahead, quickly pull down into that 4 hourly before getting to those VeChain price predictions. But here we can see how that volume's really spiked up and has started to come down on the 4 hourly. So hopefully that's going to help stabilize the price if we are going to get that correction, which appears to be happening here within that relative strength index. So currently this thing is at 77 and saw that high on the 4 hourly of 84. Okay, so there is a bit of a correction happening here, and the volumes are decreasing. That's going to help protect that price up here whilst we have this correction. So yeah, watching that space, we're looking for this thing to go a little bit lower into that purple zone so that we can get things in a better position to move back up into a good rally again. So we'll watch that space. Let's pull this down into our hourly. And again, here we can see that volume really spiking up nicely as we had that run. And then obviously we're getting that volume coming down on the back end of this thing. And that's still decreasing volume. Is actually helping to protect this price whilst we correct the relative strength index. So on that relative strength index, it's at 58, much lower than that of the 4 hourly and on the daily. So the hourly is actually going to be telling us that we could potentially still continue a bit of a run here. So we're going to be watching that space quite closely. The other thing that we can see on this hourly chart is a double tap down on that 702 line, right? So we can see that we had one retracement down to the 702, but actually there was a second retracement on that 702. This is telling me that the 702 line is a pretty good area of support. So I'm going to watch that a little bit there. I think the 702 is going to be helping us as we kind of stabilize a little bit. So there might be a third attempt to hit that 702 with low, consolidating volume here, correcting that relative strength index. I think it's only really a matter of time. Once we get down to this low level, this 37.41, we could start to see another spike up and maybe another all-time high. VET doesn't seem to be slowing down on the hourly chart by any stretch of the imagination. The only two charts that are concerning from an overbought point of view and a volume point of view seem to be that 4 hourly and that daily. So yeah, want to watch out for that a little bit, but things here on the daily, on the hourly are definitely looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and pull this back up into our daily view, right? So where we are overbought still. We're obviously having a correction here on the daily, and we're having the correction on the 4 hourly. The hourly is correcting, but is not overbought. So we potentially could have another blip here where we continue to push back up. Maybe we'll get above that 786 on Sunday. If we were able to do that, that would be a good key sign for a weekly close above the 786, which would be nice. Now let's talk about those price predictions, Chris. The reason why everyone's kind of joined us on this video today. So those price predictions, according to this Fibonacci retracement, what are those fresh new targets? Well, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to grab our price and date range and show you where we actually have been, right? So from this Fibonacci in this recent run, So from the low of the 31st of March through to the high of today, we've seen gains of 241%. That was 17-day rally. Okay, so pretty good run there. And obviously we've come down to the 702, which is one of those rarer corrections. You normally hit that, but 9 times out of 10, it's going to be one of these on a correction run. We saw the 618 was the main one that we took out before, and then from the 618, we actually then took on this particular rally here. So we're looking for a correction maybe to that 618 at some point, but you do get those rare exceptions where the 702 is enough and it continues from there. So we'll watch that space. With that being said, we are, of course, overbought, so I'm looking for corrections nonetheless, and a 20.3 could be that correction zone that we might be looking for. So watching out for that space there. But let's go ahead and grab our price range, and I'm going to throw that from the current position that it's in and start talking about that first price target, that first price prediction for VeChain. So that comes in here at 40.1 cent. That is the next price target here for VeChain, which is fantastic, right? Because I remember, Chris, when we were getting into this thing, below a cent, and you were talking, oh, it'd be fantastic to get this to 10 cent. I'm telling Chris, I'm saying, this thing's going to go to $1. It's going to be much higher than 10 cent. And here we are, right? Basically getting a high of 27.9, I think it was today, or 27.9. So moved up really significantly, and now we're seeing, on the charts here, in the technical data that are suggesting us a 40 cent as the very first price target. And from the current position, guys, that represents a 74.3% gain from where we are today. With that being said, I am still expecting us to maybe retrace down a little bit lower before we get that next rally. Obviously, we've had a 17-day rally up. We'll be trading sideways for maybe even longer than 17 days. So we'll have to see how it plays out, but things are looking pretty good at the moment. And then obviously after we hit 40 cent, Chris, the next price target, the next juicy price target, that comes in here at 59.9 cent. Okay, so now we're just below 60 cent for the VET token, and that would be absolutely phenomenal. So fantastic gains will be made when you get to those kind of levels. And, I believe at this point here, we should start seeing that VeChain, is firmly within that top 10 status. And, if it does go on Coinbase, which we speculated before, could you imagine the amount of FOMO that you're going to get around there? Just think about it from the everyday individual, Chris, that retail investor who's not familiar with blockchain technology, is looking at the top 10 cryptocurrencies, looks into VeChain a little bit and actually discovers, oh my God, they're partnered with BMW, Renault, Walmart, H&M, let alone the numerous luxury brands. They're connected to the Chinese government. This thing is going to be significantly higher than 60 cent come that point. At least that's my opinion, Chris.
Yeah, I align to that, Nick. We speculate purely based on this mysterious wallet that's appeared. So if you haven't checked out our VeChain Coinbase listing video, do check that out, where we go into a bit of detail. And we've had a good track record when it comes to predicting the coins or the projects that are next to be landing on Coinbase. We got it bang on with Cardano, and then Anchor as well. So we do look at these things, and this is a very similar sort of spot as what we spotted with the Cardano, because we saw quite a few, I think it was maybe 8 or 9 pools being set up in the background, with no name affiliated with them. And we were like, that's gotta be Coinbase. It's institution level sort of pool sizes and stuff like that. And this is an institutional size wallet that sat right between Binance and crypto.com. So interesting times. So bullish on VeChain. Everybody knows that. Our biggest back.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more about those VeChain price predictions, right? Because we've gone through 2 of those price targets so far for VET. So we have that 40 cent, we have that 59.9. So the next target comes in at 79.3. So again, this one comes in from the current position at about 245% more gains. So a 79.7 cent VET token is going to be a substantial market cap. There is no denying that. However, this is something of, VeChain itself is a blockchain that is seriously changing the enterprise level adoption within the blockchain technology space. So I'm expecting this thing to go much higher than this also. So I know it's going to get a bit hard to understand that, VeChain, something that was half a cent not that long ago could all of a sudden be entering the world of like a, $60 billion market cap, heading up towards 80 billion, up into 100 billion, or maybe even more than that. So it is hard to get your head around. I totally appreciate that. The other thing to bear in mind is that is not the actual amount of money that flows into a project. It's just the notional value of the particular cryptocurrency if it were to be liquidated instantaneously all at the same time. So it doesn't really help you understand how much money is in a project. It kind of gives you a bit of a notional value, and yeah, a lot of people misunderstand that a little bit. So yes, it will be a ridiculously high market cap, similar to that of some of these other great projects that are in the top 10. But it doesn't mean that that much money has actually flowed into the project. It just means that the amount of cryptocurrency that's currently out there times by the current valuation, which is obviously supply demand driven. So really fantastic. I think we're going to see some really good numbers. 79.7 cent is a fantastic price prediction and a fantastic price target. But we go above and beyond that. We go all the way up to the top there, which comes in at 91.9, just below $1 here for VeChain. Now, when I was talking about VeChain and price predictions before, I really wanted to see that 50 cent kind of level get hit and see what gets predicted from within the Fibonacci retracement tools and those extension levels that you're seeing here. And it's been fantastic to be able to get this up to that 27.9, which is then starting to show us some of these more realistic targets, right? We have 40, we have 59.9, we have 79.7 and 91.9, right? Which is 299% gains from the current position. So it's definitely looking pretty good, and I still think there's more scope to go higher than this. Under the right kind of circumstances, VeChain could absolutely dominate 2021, and 2021 is supposed to be, of course, the the year of the supply chain, and there are a few other supply chain solutions out there. We have seen Cardano dabbling in with this space, and there is Track, I think, Chris, Origin Trails, which is another fantastic supply chain solution. But the thing with VeChain here is it goes above and beyond just supply chain. It moves into the world of authentication, and it has government-based contacts, and some of those partnerships that they have just cannot be replicated, such as PwC. When DNVGL, right? Those are big, massive players in the space and globally, and enterprises who have clients. And if those clients want to get into blockchain, you can guarantee that they're going to be looking at VeChain as the solution. Furthermore, VeChain is the only 5-star TÜV rated blockchain service provider in the world. And when it comes to enterprise level adoption, that thing actually matters. So I think, this is going to be fantastic. We can now see firmly within our data just below $1 for a VET token. That is amazing. And I do think it has the potential to go even higher. So fantastic news here for VET. It's had a fantastic run. We've seen that 241% in gains in the last 17 days. This thing has been on absolute fire for quite a while. And man, am I glad that Chris invested in VeChain.
Yeah, no, look, this project has got so much more in the tank, and lots of questions that we've been receiving. Have you exited a percentage yet? The answer is no. I still think there's so much more to come, and when it does get that listing on Coinbase, which I expect it to, the price discovery element of it's going to be immense, because if people actually do their research, as well as listening to and watching the show, they're going to stumble across all of the partnerships. And one of the things that we do need to look at and consider when looking at projects before you invest is, not just looking at the market cap, not just looking at the team, but also looking at the partnerships and, looking at the volumes of transactions. But for me, the partnerships are key, because that's an indication of, how adopted it's going to be in the future. So you can't just use transactional volumes as an indicator. That gives you an indicator of now, but it doesn't give you an indicator of the future. So, there's lots of things that you have to look at. But for me, VeChain is going to be firmly in the top 10 for a long time once it gets there.
Fantastic, guys. If you found this video useful, informative, hit that like button. We both really do appreciate that. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you want to stay up to date with those hidden gems, new cryptocurrencies, and you want to help us out with that massive 100,000 subscriber milestone, help us get that verification tick, help us tackle those scammers in the comments, then do consider subscribing to the channel. By subscribing, you'll be kept well up to date with absolutely everything we do here at Cheeky Crypto. It is free, you'll stay informed, so why not? Right, with all that said and done, we hope you have a fantastic day, guys, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care.